Morning, good morning, and good morning. Welcome to Wealth Warriors. It is my pleasure to be with you this morning. My name is Brent Harding, and I am the founder of the Wealth Warriors. I founded the Wealth Warriors because what I learned was that so many of us are looking for answers. So many of us are aspiring, hoping, wanting, desiring to have wealth in our lives. And you know what the beauty of this is it's not just about us, but it's about the generations behind us. And that's what's made it so exciting for me to be here with you, to make it as many Saturday mornings as humanly possible, and to bring back information for you. Whether I'm traveling abroad, I'm here in the United States, I am most often thinking about how we can grow the family of wealth, how we can be the first generation wealth babies for our families. Now, if you are already wealthy, we applaud you. We are aspiring to get where you are. I will say this, that the majority of the individuals that watch the broadcast, that listen to the broadcast, that participate in the broadcast are oftentimes individuals that are aspiring to get there. And the beauty or the thought process about wealth that I am looking for us to really consider and really take to heart is this: our net worth has to be significantly based on real time value. What does that mean? That means real cash in the bank. You know, some of us are house rich and cash poor. We couldn't refinance our houses fast enough to pull that cash out to solve a financial problem. And so that's why when we're looking at our net worth, we need to know that there is a significant amount of cash, there's a significant amount of credit, and then there are real time assets. And so, as a result of that, today's broadcast is going to be a little bit different than I initially thought. I had the privilege of attending an incredible event last weekend. Not only myself, but some of my colleagues were there as well. And while the basis was the model of the business that I'm in, what I got out of it made me say, you know what, I'm going to change up today's broadcast. And we're going to talk about something that the very first book that I purchased in this program talks about. And so that's really where the basis of everything is going to begin at. I'm going to actually take us through some of what the writer talks about because it really is a necessity. The very first thing that he talked about was the word results. So I know that I've said to you, this is the power, it is about the power and visualization, about purpose rather than visualization. However, at the end of the day, all of this is to lead us to the results. You know, he talked about the fact, he asked everybody, do you write down your goals? Everybody raised their hand. Yes, yes, I write down my goals. Do you write down your aims? Yes, we write down our aims. All hands went up. And then he said, throw that away. Because what we need to focus in on is the results. Start with what we want and then work our way back. Start with what you want. You said, or we said, that we want to leave a legacy for our families, for the next generation, so that they build on that financially. Because I will tell you this broadcast is totally about finance. It's totally about the monetary gains that we make. It is about becoming financially free, financially independent. Now, that means different things for different people. But one of the things that we know is it means it's got to be at least 7 digits. Okay. In order to have the start of that financial freedom where you can, in fact, I recall the speaker said, don't spend anything until you've made $10 million. And I remember sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, wow, is this huge? Is this just absolutely incredible? And he took us through an exercise of if you make an extra this and you make an extra that, you make an extra that. And at the end of it, he said, you got to make $10 million so that you can be investing in different things. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to listen to the person that has already done it. Not only done it once, done it twice, done it multiple times. In fact, this gentleman, along with a group of individuals, actually has helped, has touched, has positively affected over 500,000 people. 500,000. So you think maybe he might have something that is of significant value that we would want to give more than the usual consideration? You bet. So as a result of that, I am going to infuse some of his pointers into our dialogue and into our conversation. And I will tell you, one of the major things that he has said, and I bring to you, and I've said it now, I feel incredibly validated, is that it is imperative that we own a business. I know you've heard me say it over and over and over and over again. I want you to put that. That has to be one of your or my results. It has to be. It is imperative that it be a result. And so I'm going to start with a book that he actually advocated and wrote, and it is The Power. It is about power. It starts off, and the very first thing it says is power. Power begins with us. In fact, that's a hashtag. Power begins with me. How about you hashtag that for yourself? Power begins with me. And it does, because we have to recognize the fact that it's our power. And in fact, he speaks about attitude, and he says here, we want to adopt an attitude that says, I am success. Hashtag, I am success. That is who I am. That is who you are. That is who we are. We are seeing the result, the end result now, and we're working our way back. So we need to constantly keep in our minds what we are and who we are. And attitude is the first place. I am success. I'm a success. And we constantly, when we're in the car, when we're driving down the street, I am a success. I'm a success. I am a success. Hashtag, I am a success. We have got to be the champions for ourselves. And in order for us to get to that destination, we need to put it in our minds. I remember hearing a speaker. In fact, I bought one of his CDs, and the speaker said he started with the end in mind. He saw what he wanted to be. He saw what he wanted to become. And I realize that some people will say, Brent, that sounds a little corny. It sounds a little hokey, sounds a little out of place, especially in our high-tech society. But I'll tell you what, at the end of the day, a pen and paper. When all else fails, pen and paper is still there and it still works. And in fact, there are times when we can't find what we're looking for. Pen and paper still works. You will still see people with a notepad. Why? Because sometimes it's quick and easy to just jot it down. So let me share with you what he is saying. He said here that our positive attitude can be really simple. Our positive attitude can be really simple. However, he goes on to say, yet critically important, key to your financial freedom is our attitude. If we have an attitude that says we are not going to be able to make it, guess what? We're going to feed into that. We want to climb out of that place of darkness and climb into the light. And the light is what we make for ourselves. Now, I know I might sound a little bit preachy, but I'm willing to go out on that edge for just a moment. I am success attitude, and it will happen. That's what the writer talks about. We need to coach. Sometimes we don't know it all. If we haven't been there, then wouldn't it make sense for us to work with, read about, share, be part of either a mastermind or a process by which we get there? The reality is few get there by themselves. If they're smart, they take from what people have already done. Why reinvent the wheel? So I'm going to start again with hashtag I am success. I am a success. That's what I want you to tweet out and hashtag about is who you are. Are you a success? All right, so if I ask the question, are you a winner or a loser? What's the answer? I'm a winner. I know I'm a winner. I have to tell myself that. I have just spent the last 12 minutes talking about being a winner. I am a success. Tell yourself that, because that's the first step. You open up his book, and after he talks about first things first, he then immediately goes in and he says, what else? Your attitude. So attitude will get us altitude. I know everybody has heard that statement before. Our attitude is what's going to get us our altitude. Hashtag, say something about it, because that is pivotal. That is the beginning. We go from the attitude to how do we keep ourselves going? Besides a cup of coffee, I got to take a sip. How about that? I hope everybody brought their coffee. At 9 o'clock in the morning, we need to bring our coffee to the table, right? Coffee is part of my motivation, which is actually the next piece. And that is to stay motivated. He says one way to help us, help you, me, stay motivated is to have a very clear idea of the results that we want to attain. So if you say to me, Brent, I want to have a net worth, I want to have in the bank literally $1 million. I want to have 3 pieces of property, 2 that will garner me income, that are income producing properties, and I want to own a business. And that is the results. Fantastic. When do we want that results? Is it possible that over the next 11 months that we could actually see ourselves having $1 million in cash, accessible to grow it? Could we see ourselves having a minimum of 3 pieces of property, 2 income producing pieces of property, and a home that we now reside in? It doesn't have to be the dream home, but it will make us happy. Do we see ourselves having that business? See, that's the results, the end result in mind. So if we say by December 31st, 2016, given the fact that this is hashtag 2016, my year of prosperity, if we see that and we write it out, can we make that happen? Can we stay motivated? Can we stay plugged in so that we amp ourselves up and stay motivated every day? Because every day counts. I want to share with you something. On the rainy days, on the days that you make time to read about what other people are doing, because that will help us to tell our story. Some of the writers that I have read that I'm going to implore you to read: Zig Ziglar, Dennis Waitley, Stephen Covey, Stephen Scott, Anthony Robbins. Those are just a few. And guess what? Their stories, we put that into our mind, and that will bring power to us. Now, I shared with you today, we're going to talk about purpose and visualization. And you're saying, again, warm and fuzzy, Brent, doesn't do it for me. Take a listen. Develop a purpose. The stronger your sense of purpose, the greater your chance of success. Not only in business, in life in general, the greater the purpose, the driver is what will make it happen. Now, the writer gave a very powerful exercise, and I actually started this exercise. In fact, I completed the exercise. And most of us, when we start reading, we want to just jump right through. We want to get through all of the soft, mushy stuff. I'm going to tell you something. It was pretty powerful. He started out, and there are five things that he wants us to do to develop the purpose. So I'm going to implore you, get your pen and paper, because we're going to do the exercise together. I actually did it, but I'm going to do it again with you. I'm going to give you 60 seconds. So while you're doing that, I'm going to sip a cup of coffee. 60 seconds, and it starts right now. Cheers to the coffee. Pen, paper, we're going to go old school. Now, you can actually put it on your computer. That's okay. We're going to allow you to do that. And while we're waiting for everybody to get the pen and paper, for those that already got it, I want you to do something. I want us to tweet out. I want us to go on Facebook and invite folks on to the broadcast today. Why? Because this is powerful. Remember, what I'm sharing with you is some things that millionaires, billionaires actually do. The results is what we are looking for. The results is where we want to be at. We are now working our way back from the results. The results is December 31st, 2016, your year of prosperity. So we're going to do something before we even touch this paper. We are going to do a flash mob. We are going to do a flash mob and invite everybody to the broadcast today. Are you ready? All I want you to do is take the fingers. We're going to put them on the keyboard. And you're going to say, join us on the Wealth Warrior broadcast. That covers those 140 characters on Twitter. We're going to do the same thing on Facebook. But we're going to invite folks we're going to invite people. We're going to invite folks. We're going to invite everybody to the broadcast. Are you ready? And all you're going to do is say, join us on the Wealth Warrior broadcast now. Are you ready? Are the fingers on the keyboard? Are you ready to go and tweet out? Because that's what we want to do. We're going to tweet it out. On your mark, get set. Have you got it written down? Join us on the Wealth Warrior broadcast now. On your mark, get set, hit the button, hit the enter button. Flash mob today. That's right. We want to flash mob out and share this with everybody. Give everybody an opportunity to get started. We've got 11 months to make this happen. Miracles have been created in 11 months. They truly have. People have changed their life because you know what? I want to share something with you that a very famous woman said to me. Her name is Beverly Cummings, my mother. She said, obviously you haven't had enough yet, because when you have, there isn't anything that is going to stop you from getting to your destination, from getting to the results that you wanted. Now, this is a woman that raised 3 children by herself. She worked 3 jobs and retired at 55. Is that powerful? So let's get started. We want to develop a purpose. And the first step to developing a purpose, he says, is write a life script. This is interesting. Let me share with you what he says. He says you want to outline the main events of your life and include the things that led to conflict. He went on to say that, or ask the question, how did you rise above the conflict? So you're writing about your life. He says, and did you reach your resolution? You want to watch the patterns. Do you see patterns developing? And then he goes on to say, repeat until you lay this thing out. He says these could include your rebellious period of time. They could include a divorce. They could include repeatedly changing jobs. They could include marital challenges. Whatever the case may be, write out your life script. And I wrote out my life script, and it was really interesting to see at some point, I realized my last sentence is there is a pattern that's very clearly coming to fruition. I was able to see a pattern of the things that I personally was doing. Wherever that starting point is, start just chunking it down. And then at the end of it, go back and read that. See what your life script is saying. In order for us to get to our destination, we need to know where we've come from so that we know how to avoid the things that are not making sense. How to avoid what is it that's preventing us from having wealth? Is it the fact that we are afraid and therefore we end up harming our process? We end up creating devices that prevent us from getting there. You stop and you think about reading a book. I'm going to read whatever this book is, and I've got books over on the couch, so I looked over there. But we start reading, and then something distracts us, and we leave the reading. Or we get tired, or we may be jealous, or we may be envious. What is it that's stopping us from getting there? What's stopping you right now from writing these things down? I wanted to go to the rest of the book. I wasn't interested in writing this down. But what I did see was a life script. When I talk to my business partners, I share with them, let's focus on 3 activities that are going to get us to that result. Sometimes it worked for somebody else, and we're saying it didn't work for us. But maybe we need to tweak it just a little bit so that it fits with us. Because there is a pattern to success. And in fact, I remember the writer saying, when you do these things and it starts to flow, it's going to come in like gangbusters. But we have to figure out what it is that's preventing us. And that is our life script, so that we can develop the purpose. The next place he takes us to is about our values. He says here, list values that are dominant, which often create conflict. And I wrote down some of those. Sometimes one of my values is commitment. Sometimes I'm overcommitted, and I'm overcommitted to other folks and not committed to my own success. Charity begins where? At home. Another one is compassion. Sometimes I am too compassionate and I hold off on saying the things that need to be said. And then suddenly the spark, and whew, that compassion goes out the window. And the other is diplomacy. All of these are values. However, they can be assets. They can also be liabilities, because sometimes people will think or feel that diplomacy is a weakness and they can attempt to take advantage of it. Or again, sometimes diplomacy will allow you or positions you where you do not say what really needs to be said. And then the spark, and diplomacy goes totally out the window. So again, he talks about the values. He says, for example, the value of honesty, of tranquility, a simple life, pleasing others, loyalty, compassion. All of those can be incredible assets. They also can create conflict. So what are your values? What are my values? From there, this one was interesting. Moral dilemmas. And he goes on, he says, note any major or reoccurring conflicts in your life. For example, you're caught between power and prestige. You might have constant battles, your feelings of being abandoned. All of these become maybe You're like me, a workaholic. All of these, they have some level of dilemma. And again, the results and what are we going to do? This is the soft stuff. And I know you're saying, Brent, does this get me to the end result, the cash? We've got to do the work on the front end. I'm listening to a CD by Mark Sterling, and he talks about you gotta do the work on the front end. Another person that I've heard speak that I am admiring tremendously, who actually has spoken about that, and that is a gentleman by the name of Barry Donaldson. And again, what do they talk about? The work that has to be done on the front end. You want to know why a lot of us do not end up reaching those goals and aspirations is because we're working hard, in many instances, regrettably, on the wrong things. You know, we talk about the sun. You can't run to the west and hope to see the sun rise. It rises in the east, sets in the west. But we are running. You could be running and running hard. But if you're looking for the sunrise, running to the west ain't going to get the sunrise for you, or it'll be the next day. So here's the point. The point is we need to do the work on the front end to reap the benefits or the results that we're looking for. Not our goals, our dreams, and our aspirations, the results that we want. Let me hit you with the next one. I love this one. Personal transformation, not change. See, change is linear. Transformation, trajectory. Let me read to you what it says. Are you aware of changes in you that have enabled you to rise above the conflict or the moral dilemma? If so, how did this happen? Where did this happen? How did this come about? See, it is about us. You know that old adage that says, if we want to attract something, then we need to become what we want to attract. Is that not right? We need to become what it is that we're looking to attract. If we broke, are we going to attract somebody that's wealthy? No, we broke. Because whoever is wealthy, they want to do it together. Opposites do attract. I agree with you on that. So maybe you got your wealth through business. I got my wealth through something, but together we grow. Now, that's not to say that that's all of what life's about. No, but what it's to say is we want to attract, then we've got to become the vessel ourselves. We've heard many speakers talk about that to us. Do we believe it? Do we take it in? Because that is what it's about. The next part is we then redefine our identity and our purpose. Let me share with you what he says. Who are you looking to for transformation? And what are you ultimately about? You know, oftentimes we'll say to a person, what are you looking for? And they can tell us everything. Oh no, here's a better one. What do you want? More often than not, you get a list of everything you don't want, but that's not the question. The question is, what do you want? That's the question. What do we want? Because developing our purpose, who we are. I used to think, you remember the statement that says, I've got to go find myself? And I'd be like, oh my goodness, what in the heck is that about? Until one day I woke up and I recall saying the same thing. And I literally looked behind me and I said, who said that? Because I couldn't believe that that is what I was saying. My purpose-driven life and business. What is your purpose-driven life and business? He talks about, the next part is he talks about creating a business plan. He says success is having worthwhile results and taking the needed steps to achieve them. Worthwhile results. Results that are written down have focus and focus with reality. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. I had the privilege of spending 3 days in the company of both of the gentlemen that I mentioned. And it was awesome. It was incredible because you were in a room with people that are going in the same direction. The energy, the desire, the will to submit so that we could grow out. Is having worthwhile results and taking the needed steps to achieve them. Results that are written down have focus and focus with reality. So he goes on to say, commit to your plan, wanted results, and and accomplishments in writing. Whatever you have, whether it's 6 hours or 60 hours a week to give to your endeavors, you want to do those, translate those into results, into specific steps that are essential every step of the way. And he starts with our visualization. What do we see for ourselves by the end of 2016? What do we see? What's the visualization? Do we see it? Or are we caught up? Sometimes we're caught up and we're so focused on the here and now that we cannot see 2016, the end of 2016, seeing ourselves with cash in the bank, seeing ourselves with money invested, seeing ourselves with portions of what we need, with the end result in mind. And because we're not visualizing it, you remember when the law of attraction was incredibly popular and everybody was reading it. You remember that book? Do you remember one of the speakers, I believe John Maxwell, talking about a visualization board? Taking the board and putting the things that you want in your life on there and looking at those every day. Do you see yourself spiritually? Do you see yourself financially? Do you see yourself emotionally? Do you see your life? Can you visualize what it is that you want to bring into it? That's what I'm talking about today. And he gives an exercise, and that is the visualization board, a collage of the desired results. I already started mine. I've got mine going. I'm going to be working on it today. You cut out pictures. You go visit. For example, if you say that I want to live in a specific neighborhood, then go out to the neighborhood. Take pictures of the houses, the house that you see yourself in. And you're going to put a timeline on that. The house that you see yourself in. Go and test drive the vehicle that you want to drive in. See, I have taken pictures of my vehicle. I know exactly what that car is going to look like. I feel it, I taste it, and most people wouldn't believe that that's what I want, but it is what I want. I know what the house looks like. I know where I want myself in my heart and my mind. Do you? So the exercise is to create the visualization board and to put your life on that board. All the elements of your life that you want to visualize where they will be. Here's another exercise. This is exercise number 2. And it's an exercise in which you wake up every morning, excuse me, you take a few minutes to visualize what it's going to be like when people are approaching you and they see the results because it's manifest itself. Whatever the case may be, whether it is a new business, whether it is, and you know what? I'm going to have to stick with the new business. I started to say job, and no disrespect for the job. You remember what many a person says. You remember what Jim Rohn said. He says, I work my full-time job while I build my part-time fortune. And at some point, he then leaves the job because the fortune has been built. Whatever that fortune is for him, whatever that fortune is for you, whatever that fortune is for me, whatever it is, whatever lifestyle it is, he built it. So I'm going to say here, visualize yourself in your lifestyle. What does that look like? Because we need to see it and keep it straight in our face every single day to attain it. To attain it. That is creating our business plan. I liked this one where he talks about visualization, and he says on the visualization why you will succeed. And he says, what are the top 3 reasons why you will succeed? So out of the exercises that you've just done, what are the top 3 reasons why you will succeed? And the irony is, I want you to know, did she write them up? Yes, she did. Now, and he says, this is interesting. You're going to put those in 3 different places. You're going to put those, one of them you're going to put that in your wallet. The next one is going to be put in on the mirror in your bathroom. Now, if you're just not ready to share that with the family, then you've got to put it in a place that meets you every morning. So maybe you don't put it on the bathroom mirror. Maybe you put it in the mirror, on the mirror in your bedroom. But it's something you get up, you comb your hair, you got to look at it, and you read it. And then, I like the next one. The next one is you put it on the dashboard in your car. Oh, I sounded like a Bostonian then, didn't I? You put it on the dashboard. Now, I will share this with you. Again, these seem like the soft, yeah, Brent, I'm not going to do that. Yes. Why are you going to do that? Because the people that have already proven that it works have done it. They've already proven it. And guess what? I spent the money to go here to bring it back to you. So you didn't even need to spend the cash to go in here. I heard it for you and I'm bringing it and I'm giving it to you. Why? Because it was given to me. The people that spoke this into existence spoke it with heart. Spoke it with heart, spoke it with tears. And I'm bringing it to you. Do it. If you want to know why, one of the reasons why we do not succeed and create the lifestyle and wealth is because we're not willing to do the work on the front end. And it is work. It is a 4-letter word, and I'm not going to deny it anymore. I used to say, oh, well, you don't have to do this, and oh, you don't do that. And you know what I was doing? I was hurting you instead of helping you. It takes work, for sure. It takes work in order to make that happen. Now, typically, I'd go on to the next places because there are next places to go on to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to reserve this for next week because we're going to work this together. We are going to work the power together. He has given us such an incredible blueprint, from the blueprint to your bedroom. He has given us such an incredible blueprint that we could not be successful if we're willing to follow what he has to say. So one of 2 things is going to happen next week. Either we're going to go into the book, or no, we are going to go into the book. We're going to have, all goes well, 1 of 2 people is going to join us next week. One is either going to be the writer of a book that is going to talk about business and business structure, or the other is going to be October Man, who is started a mastermind group. And you'll notice in our Wealth Warrior feed, he talks about that. That's Robert Randolph. So we'll surprise you next week. But I want you to know, get your pen and paper out, because next week we're going to talk about the next 4 or 5 pages of this manual that has been awesome. And I mean, he covers everything. By the end of this reading, by the time we get to chapter 5, we will have our visualization set. We will have our business plan set. We will have it all. And then it's a matter of, where do you want to make that thing happen? We will have it all. It is positively powerful. So let me do a quick recap before I make announcements today. Today we have talked about power, and power, the power that you and I have And it starts with us. It starts with us believing that we have the power. Because I'll tell you what, we know when we go out today, first of all, if you're in Massachusetts and you're in Boston, the snow is going to beat you down. Okay, so we're going to start with the snow beating us down. Now, you go out there and the world has a hard time believing things because life gets in the way. This is your life, my life, our life, and we synergize from each other. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust our attitude. Our attitude needs to be an attitude of, I am a success. Say it with me. I am a success. Believe it and keep saying it until you know, until you believe it, until it becomes a song. I am a success. I am a success. You'll reach the point where you're so bold, you'll say, I am success. I am. It starts with my attitude. Then I've got to be motivated. How am I going to stay motivated? Well, one of the ways that I'm going to stay motivated is I'm going to get very clear about the results that I'm looking for in the timeline. See, results has to have a date. It has to have a date, and the results needs to be broken down, because once you've got the results at the end, then it is, what am I doing every day that gets me to my results? And we have a session in which we're going to do that. We're going to go from there. We went from there into developing a purpose. Because see, at the end, we redefine our identity and our purpose. And you might update that periodically, but it starts out, he started out talking about our life script. And the reason that that is so important is for you to see patterns, because patterns do emerge. No matter how small, how many sentences that are there, patterns will emerge. When you go back and you look at it, you go, yep. I stopped, I this, I that, I the other, but you will see patterns. And the idea here, not the idea, the reality is we've got to break that pattern. We've got to make a paradigm shift to get out of the state that's prevented us from getting where we need to be. And that is leaving the legacy, living the legacy, and then leaving it for the next generation. Life script. We went from life script to what are the supporting values. And what does that mean? Supporting values are the values that are dominant within us. Now, the interesting thing is some of those values, he says, create conflict. Sometimes we can be overcommitted. We can be too diplomatic. We can be too compassionate. We can be, no, we can't be. I started to say we can be too truthful, but that is not, we have to be truthful. Honesty is a critical component. Being honest with ourselves, being honest with the people that are around us. So what are our values? And are there values among the list that actually create conflict? Are we too straightforward? And instead of drawing people close to us, it repels them. Something to think about. Are we in a moral dilemma? Power and prestige. Is that a moral dilemma for our lifestyle? Or is it that we want a simpler life? Or is it that we feel that power and prestige is wrong? Moral dilemmas. Those need to be defined for us. Personal transformation, not change, trajectory. Not change, trajectory. That's what we're talking about. Are we creating a transformation for ourselves? And that transformation includes pouring things in. We've got to pour in information. We've got to pour in ourselves. Take the rafter out of our own eye before we go grabbing the rafter out of somebody else's. In order for us to help somebody else, we've got to be there ourselves. Make sense? I hope so. When we've done all these things, we then get to redefine our identity and our purpose. We take all of this information and it helps us re-identify who we are and our purpose. From there, we went on to 2 exercises. One is our visualization board. And I'm going to encourage you, implore you to have that, to look at it every single day, to realize, to take it into our mind, knowing that that is going to get us to the result. We got to believe that we're worthy. In some instances, some of us do not believe that we're worthy to live that lifestyle. We believe that we should be trudging every day because that's what we were taught. We were taught that everything is hard. See, there's a difference. Work versus hard. Work at it. But we're taught that it's hard. When you think about exercise, it's got to burn in order for you to see the results. Wrong. I'm working with a personal trainer. And I am amazed when we do the reps and I can see definition occurring. Consistency, work gets us the results we're looking for. So the first visualization is creating that board. The second one is what we do every day in our mind. See ourselves at that result. How will we look? How will we walk? How will we talk? What's our confidence? What will we look like? When people are approaching us, when a person approaches you and they say, how did you get there? What did you do? And you are able to have clarity and you're able to define that. Actually see yourself going through all of the steps month by month, week by week, day by day, until you get to your desired results. The last thing that we talked about was the 3 top reasons why you will succeed. What are your top 3 reasons? I said that I never want to be vulnerable as I was at one time in my life. And that is going to be something that drives me. I want to prove to myself I have the power and the swagger and the confidence to reach every level of the results that I'm looking for. What are your top 3 reasons that you will succeed? Because see, it's not about me. It's about you. It's about us. It's about each and every one of us that's listening to the broadcast today or will listen to it in replay. It is about us individually and then us collectively. Each one of us brings our results to the table and we become incredibly powerful as a result of it. I hope I put enough meat on the bone for you today, because I'll tell you what, I'm feeling like I put enough meat. The beauty of sharing this is it inculcates in myself and it reiterates in me. So you know what your charge is? Share what you've gotten today with somebody else, because when you do, it will reiterate in your own mind. It'll keep you on point, on target. And in fact, depending, maybe next week, my visualization board will be sitting behind me. You'll be able to see some of the pieces of my visualization board. I might just do that. I might surprise you and do that. Okay, let me share some announcements for you. Next week's broadcast is going to have parts to it. We're going to be talking about the next phases of power. And that's what the name of this manual is. It's power. So we're going to talk about the next steps in the power process. In the meantime, you will want to be writing up your results. What are the results you want by the end of 2016? What are the results you want? Because we're going to work our way backwards. So next week, we'll be talking about a portion of power, and I'm going to surprise you. We're either going to have one or the other. We're either going to have an author of a book, or we are going to have the mastermind himself, Robert H. Randolph, with us. One or the other is going to occur next week. If you are in the Boston area and you want to be charged by some incredible business people that are business focused, business minded, this Monday evening, February 8th, Myself and a group of us will be at the Best Western Adams Inn, 29 Hancock Street in Quincy. It is a business opportunity meeting. It is also an opportunity to be associated and energized by people that want lifestyle change. They want to leave legacies for their families. They want to help others reach their goals, dreams, and aspirations. The event starts at 7 p.m. sharp for 60 minutes. We are going to be talking about nothing but lifestyle and how we get there. And that lifestyle includes our finances. So if you are looking for the right kind of people, the right kind of association, then come on and join me and the crowd. We'll be there on Monday, February 8th, again at the Best Western in Quincy. You will probably note in our feed that there are a number of network marketing events that are occurring this week and throughout the month of February. And I want to thank our business partners. I want to thank our members for listing those networking events. Why do you want to attend networking events? Because you want to test out that feeling of power, that feeling of enthusiasm. You want to start shaking hands. You want to start talking to people. You want to start sharing and feeding off of each other. You want to ask questions because you'll find there are people there that are experts in whatever their field is. You might find somebody that you can do business with, somebody that can help you deal with whatever it is you are looking for. So networking is a fantastic way to meet, to greet, to do business with, to develop relationships. You never know who you are going to see at a networking event, and they're all around the state of Massachusetts. So they're not just happening in Boston, they're happening in Worcester and Springfield and Fall River and Fitchburg. They're happening everywhere. And believe you me, you want to stretch yourself, climb out of that box and visit some of those networking events. So if you've got an event that's going on, please put that in the feed because we'd like to know about it, support it, garner information because we feed off of each other. If you had a promotion, if there's a congratulation that's due, put it in the feed and we will congratulate you. I want to thank everybody for being with me this morning on the broadcast. And I oftentimes say that I want you to go out and I want you to do something. I have now I have appreciated Trevor Otts for his statement. I am going to expand and now say my own. I'm going to start with him though. I want you to go out today and be extraordinary. We'll see you next week. Make it a good one.